Good evening. That was a signal to our fabulous audiovisual crew. Anyway, good evening and welcome to the regular business meeting of the Commission on Police Practices. It is now 4:30. We have a quorum established. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting, and I'd like to ask our executive assistant, Alina Conde, to do roll call, please.
Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Chair Gloria Tran. Here. First Vice Chair Dennis Brown. Here. Second Vice Chair Doug Case. Here. Commissioner Aguilar. Here. Commissioner Armentrout. Here. Commissioner Benitez. Okay. Okay. Commissioner Beyer. Here. Commissioner Kansen. Thank you. Commissioner Chatsky, he's not here yet. Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Dockstader. Thank you. Commissioner Flores, he's not here yet. Commissioner Griffin Jones, he's not here yet. Commissioner Harvey, he's not here yet. Commissioner Hilbert. Commissioner Honore. Not here yet. Commissioner Justice. Here. Thank you. Commissioner Lawton. It's not here yet. Commissioner Mendoza. Here. Commissioner Molmat. Here. Thank you. Commissioner Ortega. Thank you. Commissioner Robinson is not here yet. Commissioner Rocha Vasquez. Here. Thank you. And Commissioner Rodriguez. Here. Thank you. And that concludes that. Ends roll call. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Conde. Okay, so let's go to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting from August 7th. If you had a chance to look them over, do we have any public comments about the meeting minutes? Okay, so any amended changes? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Justice, did you have changes or second? Okay, Commissioner Justice moved to approve the meeting minutes. Commissioner Mendoza is seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. So do we have non-public, non-agenda public comment?
We have one request to speak in person and 0 online at this time. I'd like to call Kate Yavendetti. My apologies. We have 0 non-agenda public comment.
Virtual as well?
Virtual as well.
Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to the chair report. All right, first of all, I want to thank, if you haven't noticed, these fabulous binders in front of you that have so much valuable information. They were put together by our executive director, Paul Parker, our executive assistant, Alina Conde, and our fabulous intern, Jorge Uribe. Got it. I just want to give them a public thank you and shout out. Go ahead and go through them when you get a chance. It is valuable information. It'll tell you a lot about the CPP, its history, its origins. This was an incredible amount of work, and I just want to give them a public thank you and a round of applause. Thank you, guys. All right, the Commission on Police Practices will hold our protest policy community hearing on Saturday, September 14th at the Logan Heights Library. The specific time will be determined, but it's around midday. And so if you notice, you have these little flyers at your table. So that's talking about that. Again, it will be a listening time, and we're in the middle of adjusting our recommendations for the protest policy with our Commissioner Hilbert. So we invite the community and all stakeholders to provide input to the CPP on that date and that time. We try to make it a time where the public can come. We will then finalize policy recommendations after that meeting, and the commission will vote for them, and we will submit them to the San Diego Police Department. The City Council is accepting nominations for the one open seat on the commission. It's a representative for the low to moderate income areas in the city. To apply, please visit the CPP website. The deadline to apply is Friday, August 30th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Yeah, go. leave computer audio. Okay. All right, so now I'd like to allow our new commissioners to briefly introduce themselves, which we didn't get a chance to do last week because of our last meeting because of the pretext stop. So going alphabetically, let's start with Commissioner Dockstader.
Thank you. My name is Jessica Dockstader. I am really pleased to be new on the commission. I'm a lifelong San Diego resident. I lived for a few years outside of San Diego. I grew up in District 1. I live in District 5 now. When I was sitting at City Council and talking about why I wanted to be on this commission, I kind of let them know, I have lived experience here, I have work experience here, academic experience here, and I'm looking forward to learning from all of you and also bringing that type of experience here. I think it was great to have the last meeting be my first one, to be back re-engaged and listening to the people who are most impacted by the work that we're doing. So I'm just really looking forward to being here. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. All right, Commissioner Lawton is not here yet. Commissioner Viviana Ortega?
Hi. Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Viviana Ortega, and I'm a recent graduate of the University of California, San Diego. I've been living here in San Diego ever since COVID kind of ended, so 2021 I've been here, but I was born here, so I'm really excited to learn about all of you as well as your beautiful perspectives on the county and the city in general, and see how I can best help and give back to this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortega. Commissioner Robinson is not here yet, so Commissioner Rocha Vasquez.
Hi, everyone. Gonzalo Rocha. Pleasure to be here and work with all of you. I will echo what Commissioner Dockstader said about the first meeting being the pretext stop community hearing. I think that it's very clear. The residents of San Diego are very hopeful for the work that this commission is going to produce, and pleasure to contribute to it in any way that I can.
Thank you, Commissioner Rocha Vasquez. Thank you all in advance for your volunteer time to take part in this important commission. We look forward to working with you. That concludes my chair report, and now I turn it over for our executive director report. Mr. Parker.
I think the meeting somehow just ended on Zoom.
Our Zoom went down, and so if you will wait just a couple of minutes because we have to be up for our live stream.
All right, it looks like we're back up and running. Okay. So as far as the executive officer report, just a couple of staffing updates real quickly. Our policy manager, I think I mentioned last time, will be starting on September 3rd, so the Tuesday after Labor Day, he will be starting. Our senior management analyst will also be starting on Tuesday, September 3rd. We've made 2 job offers to the 2 investigator candidates, the top candidates. We're waiting to hear back from them. And then we still have the pending recruitments, which will be my priority next, over the next 30 days to get posted, actually less than 30 days, to get posted for the Deputy Executive Director, General Counsel, and our Performance Auditor. As you can see, it's already been touched on with the CPP handbook. As far as the content, I want to give a shout out to the training committee. So Commissioners Momat, Hilpert, Harvey, Lozano Diaz, and First Vice Chair Brown. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but the content really kind of came from them with some special feedback from Commissioners Momat and Second Vice Chair Case. So thank you for that. And then in reference to the training updates to those training commissioners as well, we have put on a CPP overview, part 1. We have recorded that so that future members, new commissioners can participate in that, just looking at the video component of that. And we're moving forward with the training courses as identified by the training committee to get them moving out, rolling them forward, rolling them out soon, probably via Zoom, kind of like we did with the CPP overview. But I'll make sure to let you folks know every meeting the status of training. In reference to our IA processes, the new IA captain, Julie Epperson, met with the new assistant chief over IA, Tina Williams, and the new police chief, Chief Wall. Met with them yesterday to kind of move forward with trying to figure out how best to, what that new administration wants to do as it pertains to how they're going to interact. And so I'm waiting to hear back from them. I did speak to Captain Epperson before this meeting, but haven't had a chance to really, we didn't have the time to really dive into a conversation. So I'll bring that back forward when I know more, and we'll roll something out to you folks after I tell the cabinet, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's that. One of the things we're looking at doing, we are exploring the release of our redacted summaries. This is something that we have the ability to do. So we're working with the cabinet and council to make that happen. As you know, one of the things that we really want to focus on is transparency. And right now, if you look at and we're doing that more and more, but we want to at least have the community know what kind of cases are being talked about and maybe some outcomes or whatever. So the cabinet, council, myself will move forward because that's already been through the meet and confer process. So we can begin doing that rather quickly. No promises, but that's what we're going to look into doing. Next week, I have a meeting with risk management to try to get information in reference to the costs associated with pursuit crashes or whatever. So pursuit-related payouts. I want to see if we can get that information. I know that the committee wanted that. We'll incorporate that into the committee and probably publicly release that as well at a future meeting. And then finally, our wonderful community engagement coordinator, Ms. Abed, will be getting me in the community next week. Several meetings with many different community members and community groups. That's my executive director report.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to the Pretext Stops community hearing. First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking part. I want to thank the commissioners for listening to the community. There was some heartfelt testimony. We had 21 public speakers and as well as the chief who acknowledged that there are issues that need to be addressed. We thank him for joining us as well. We appreciate everyone who came to share their stories, and now we need to look at moving forward and what we do from here. So I would like to see if there's any public comment before we start the discussion.
There is one request to speak in person. Kate Yavendetti.
Hello, everybody. As you know, I'm Kate Yavendetti. I'm with the National Lawyers Guild and Women Occupy San Diego. I live in District 3. I just have two things that I want to add to what I talked about at Pretext Stops last time. One is I want to build on what Samantha says, and that is pretext is just that. It's a phonied up thing that the cops make up a reason to stop somebody that they want to stop. They've already run the plates. They know who's there. They want to stop them. They'll follow them until they can find something or make up something. So that's the one thing. But the other thing that I forgot to tell you is that there's a group in town, a coalition that has been working on policing issues for over 10 years now. And it's called CPAT, the Committee on Police Accountability and Transparency. And a number of organizations, including mine, have been involved in that. And we put together a piece of legislation called the PROTECT Act that they've been trying to get the city council to pay attention to. But oddly enough, the police union doesn't like it, and so city council members won't talk to us. But it includes pieces on pretext stops, on consent searches, on curbing, and on a whole lot of things, and a lot of work and research went into this. It's kind of spearheaded by the ACLU, but there's a lot of other organizations, and I would just like the commission to think about having a speaker from CPAT talk about and present on that piece of legislation, because I think it would be of interest to you. And if you are interested, I can give contact information to Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no additional requests to speak online or in person.
Thank you. So we thought the cabinet discussed this with, when I say the cabinet, we meet with the executive director, and we discussed maybe how to move forward. And we did like the ad hoc committee that we were formed with the pursuit policy. And so we were thinking that we could form another ad hoc committee to take a look at the pretext ops, research, look at statistics, best practices, and on and on and on. Any recommendations we make, we want them statistically based, looking at best practices, not just off the top of our head, oh, this sounds good. So we want to make sure that it's well done, and now that we have a policy manager starting within a couple weeks, that person can help with that, which will be tremendous. And we still have our 2 interns from, I did want to introduce our outside counsel, Mr. Dwayne Bennett, who's joining us virtually. Thank you, Dwayne. He usually comes to the meetings when he's available. And so he has 2 paralegals, not interns. He has 2 paralegals that work with us, and they have done tremendous work on the pursuit policy and also on the pretext stop. So let's open it up for discussion with the commissioners to see what you think about moving forward, what you think the best path would be, and we'll just start taking names. Raise your hand if you'd like to speak, and we'll go from there. Commissioner Byer.
I volunteer to be on the committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Byer. Just so you know, per the bylaws, we have a limit of 7 commissioners that can be on an ad hoc committee. Thank you. Anybody else to comment on how to move forward or on anything? Thank you. Commissioner Molmat.
I think forming an ad hoc committee is a great idea, so I move that.
Set, guys? Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just made a motion to form an ad hoc committee.
Thank you. Is there a second? Ooh, I've got 3. I'm going to go with Commissioner Benitez. And now let's continue the discussion because discussion on that before we vote. Any feedback from the meeting? Any thoughts about the meeting? Who? Oh, Commissioner Doc Statter, is that right? Okay,
Thank you. I thought it was particularly important for us to pay attention to how emotional the people who were, they came in, they shared very important stories. And I think it's quite possible for us when we're listening to re-traumatize people dependent on our reactions or how we respond. And so I know I'm very new, and so I mean this in the most respectful way, but I just wonder if there's some type of training for us all to go through to make sure that we're honoring people's responses in the most important way possible, because it seemed like right at the end of the meeting, we just ended on a bad note, and I don't want that to be the tone that people leave with. So that was my only comment. I thought it was a great meeting. Thank you.
I think that's very valuable input. And Mr. Parker, can we look at that as far as training? Thank you. And don't worry about being new. Every voice is important and every input is important. Commissioner Flores.
Yeah, so I was, I felt it ended on a bad note as well, and that was concerning to me. I think the part that got to me is that, James Justice, like, you were someone that was kind of like in the midst of a conflict within the last part of that meeting, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth where I wanted to make sure that someone was checking in on you and seeing how, this situation affected you. And I know that in the past you have, repaired people's cars for free because of these types of incidents. And I know that there was well-meaning there, and I think there was a miscommunication that occurred, and I think that should have been spoken about a bit more. We should approach these issues with a bit more of understanding and try to clarify some of these issues as they happen. Some of these really big, this is really important, and we got to be careful with how we approach it in every respect of the way.
I agree with that, and we did check in with Commissioner Justice because we respect him so much, and we know that his comments weren't taken in the way they were, were taken in the wrong way. And so we did understand that, and we just wanted to, yes, we did check in with him. Are you doing okay, sir?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great, and yeah, thanks for your comments, and thanks for everybody who reached out to me to give me some support. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey.
Okay, yeah. On that note, I, so as you know, I did speak with the individual. He was okay. He was okay. I talked to him about this, and basically even mentioned the fact that the same things that Commissioner Justice was saying, I actually do those things because I go out to different stops and I give my vehicle a check through to make sure that I don't have anything dangling, my registration is done, all of those things, so that I don't become a part of police scene or whatever, you know, that they're not using that to. So I tell myself, I do that for myself, and I also do it with my kids. I tell them the same thing because they advocate also for the community. So when they're going out, they go through a check that makes sure that their vehicle is straight so that they don't get caught up in things also. And so I let the guy know, you know, exactly, and he understood. He was just, you know, he was emotional in regards to how he's been treated and stuff. But
We're good. We're up.
No, I have my own hotspot. For some reason, it's not.
we can, well, I'm good, so we can.
Well, while we're still offline, perhaps, we got...
Are we still on live without the Zoom? Okay, then we can continue. Okay, thank you, then we can continue.
No, I'm good. I was just saying, just
Okay.
like I said, the guy, he was okay after that.
And Commissioner Harvey, I also want to thank you for taking the lead in going over there and kind of diffusing the situation. So thank you. And your son's very well spoken. I didn't realize he was your son until he told me. Anyway, so yeah, we need to be open to listening to everyone's views, whether you agree with them or not. And that's why this commission was formed, to have different points of view. I see Commissioner Robinson and then Commissioner Griffin-Jones.
Based on, I apologize for being late as well. Based on public comment, there were a lot of officers that were named. Is there anything that we're going to do with that as far as any background, any research on cases or on officers? Just even looking at a trend of officers that do the tech stops?
At this point, until our operating procedures go through, which have to go to the City Council, meet and confer with the police union, we do not have independent investigative powers yet. So no, we have to wait till a complaint is filed. And so when that is, and we have talked about in closed session, if, you know, an officer's name keeps coming up, how we can do that, and we can talk about it again in closed session. But right now, we can't take any action. Our hands are tied until then. Thank you, though. Commissioner Griffin-Jones.
I wanted to oh yeah. Oh no worries. Sorry about being late. when the community member like reacted the way they did, you know, Commissioner Justice, after your comment, you know, that I know was well-intentioned, but I think that we all as commissioners, we have to be thinking about intent and impact. I have folks who've told me really sad stories about being stopped, and they, you know, are told that it's because of their stoplight, and then after the stop they check, and it's, you know, I mean, you know, and so the way that I think that it really spoke to how much trust the community has for us, because they felt safe enough to react that way to injustice, and they also came by and talked to us afterwards. So I really want us to really celebrate how, like, when we're talking about these really hard things, like the pretext stops again, you know, and just how hurt our community members are by the way they've been treated by police in the terms of pretextual stops. I think that we should always really pat ourselves on the back, and that the community trusts us enough to come and share. And I think that even, you know, +1 to what the commissioner said about the names and stuff of police officers, I think that that's really important, because, you know, we're able to show community we hear them and then we act on it. So appreciate you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin-Jones. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to create a ad hoc committee to do the pretext stops. And all those in favor of forming an ad hoc committee, raise their hands. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. All right, so just to, in order to be prepared, the cabinet has asked Commissioner Ada Rodriguez to chair that committee, and she has accepted. So that makes 2 members. Are there anybody else? We can have up to 7 members. Hang on one second. Okay. Rodriguez. Okay, we have second Vice Chair Case. We have Griffin-Jones. We have Mulmat. So that's 5. Anybody? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Commissioner Flores. Okay. Commissioner Chatsky. All right, that's our limit. If anyone really wants to be in it, we would have to see if someone cannot fulfill their duties of joining. Yes, ma'am.
If somebody wants to do it, I will step aside.
Anyone want to take their up on that? All right. If you do, let us know. And at some point, we'd like to get everyone on an ad hoc committee. We still have the training committee. We still have the personnel committee. We still have, sorry, we're still trying to diagnose this. We have operating committee. What do you want me to do? Okay. Thank you. My apologies. We're having technical difficulties. All right. So anything else about the pretext stops? Ad hoc committees. So Commissioner Rodriguez will reach out to all of you to start meeting. You meet via Zoom at this point, and she will see what time works for everyone, and then we'll start the meetings. What I'd like to do is, like we did on the pursuit policy, have an update. It could be a quick update at each meeting so the community knows we have not forgotten about this important issue and that we're going to keep pursuing it. So we'll put it on each agenda, and it could be short, but that's how we're going to move forward. Any other, Commissioner Rodriguez, any other input? Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right, so looking at the pursuit policy. I did have, hold on one second, I had something up here. As we start this, I want to let everyone know, in case you didn't see on the news last night, there was a police pursuit that ended in a death. It was, it started with a hit and run. I have an email into the police whether it was a felony hit and run or a misdemeanor. We think it was a misdemeanor hit and run. Just so you know, a felony is if a person is involved, a misdemeanor is if it's you hit a car or you hit a trash can or whatever. So I have not heard back yet. The driver apparently lost control as he was trying to enter I-15 from Route 94, and he died. So this is one of the reasons that we're trying to look at pursuits and see if we can make them safer. All right, so I'm turning to a preliminary report from Second Vice Chair and Chair of the Committee, Doug Case.
Okay, I'll be very brief. The committee met last night, and we did three things. Number one, the department has assigned Captain Jeffrey Jordan as the liaison to our committee. I forget exactly what his title is, but he's in charge of legislative affairs for the department, as well as handling much of the data and analytics for the department. And we met with him, and then afterwards we discussed how we would like to utilize the services of the liaison moving forward. Secondly, we had a discussion of the first two recommendations of our report. We are reworking those. That has to do with what the criteria are for when a pursuit can be initiated, which is a really critical part of the report. And I'll report back to you once we have a consensus on what that is. And then thirdly, we received the first draft of an introduction to the report. The recommendations you got didn't really have any context. It was just a list of recommendations, and so we're developing a introduction to kind of put things in context and also explain how we came up with the recommendations that we did. And so those were the items we discussed last night, and we will continue to meet bi-weekly, usually on the day before a commission meeting. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Just so you know, when we discussed this with the chief, we asked him to assign someone who has decision-making authority so they can say whether they, you know, what they give police input that's from a place of authority, rather than having him go back and him or her go back and forth. While we are still an independent commission, we have to work with the police because the chief makes the decisions on the recommendations. So we want to be as collaborative as possible without giving up our independence. Is there any public comment about this pursuit policy update?
There is no public comment.
Thank you. Anyone have any discussion? Commissioner Flores.
So I had a couple concerns, as I shared with you both, or with the committee as well, about the liaison joining. The main one being that if we allow them to join every single meeting at every single point and provide them every single draft of everything we have, that's no longer a space where we can be collaborative and we can really be independent, because it's two separate entities. And we're the oversight of that entity. We're not in that space to be fully collaborative. I mean, we're collaborative, but we're going to maintain that autonomy, as you said. Collaboration isn't giving them full authority to access everything we have. That's allowing them to influence us, and that's not what I want. That's not what we should want as a community. So being able to kind of look at this as a, hey, yeah, let's understand their feedback, even beginning with the preliminary report that we already released, and then going from there and understanding what their ideas are, and then coming back to the group and saying, hey, like, we can actually change some things because their feedback was sound. That's collaboration. Reiterating what Gloria said about collaboration, the way it's approached is differently to different people. Collaboration in a project-based learning sense is more of an iterative process, whereas collaboration to Gloria or to other people may be just giving them everything they need to be able to access us. And can you clarify? Because that's what I understood.
Collaboration is listening to what they have to say. This is my opinion. Listening to what they have to say, getting their feedback, and then the committee takes their feedback to decide what they want to do with that feedback. It's basically a liaison. The committee has the ultimate decision. But without listening to the police department, that would be foolish on our part, because we would get nowhere unless it was some sort of compromise at some point that the chief can accept, because he can just outright say, thank you for your recommendations, we don't take them, and there's nothing we can do about it. So it behooves us to work with the police, not giving them the ultimate authority for our recommendations. That's what I'm saying.
if I can respond, the ultimate authority being giving them access to every single draft. That's kind of what you did say that.
Okay. I said not giving them ultimate authority. Not giving them ultimate authority. As far as what you share with them, I'll leave that up to the committee.
Yes, the Police Officers Association X account, they said that our recommendations are enabling fentanyl users, fentanyl dealers, and allowing people who commit domestic violence to escape. We're being bullied now, so is there any help or is there going to be any accountability for that those mean things that they're saying about our recommendations?
The cabinet and executive director have seen all of those, and we have chosen not to play this out in the media. We are going to look at statistics, we're going to look at best practices, we're going to work collaboratively with PD to see what they have to put on. We understand that that's what the POA does. They can do whatever they want. We are going to do what we need to do in order to make it work. And, and those were preliminary recommendations. They've already made some changes as a committee, so we will not play this out in the media. We will do it the right way. And that's what we've decided. So that's why we have not made comments about it. Commissioner Honore?
Yes, I'd like to follow up on Commissioner Flores' comments, just for clarification. All these committees, but the one we're talking about now is Pursuit. Although there is a liaison from the San Diego Police Department, there will be meetings, deliberative meetings of the Commission Ad Hoc Committee where the liaison will not be present, where the Ad Hoc Committee can deliberate as the Commission representatives without SDPD being present. Is that correct?
Yes, we had a long discussion last night, and that was our conclusion. We would be inviting the liaison when we wanted to have their input. It would not be at every meeting, and they would only be there for a part of the meeting. And we also agreed at the meeting last night that we would be sharing drafts with the liaison only when we were prepared to do so.
Okay, I see Commissioner Justice, then Dockstader, and then Hilpert.
Just a general question for the committee. I was wondering if the department ever uses drones or helicopters to assist in their pursuits.
I don't know about the drones in assisting with the pursuits. They do use helicopters quite a bit.
Are you okay?
I can answer that a bit more.
I can answer. They do not use drones with San Diego PD. Chula Vista PD is the closest PD force that uses drones.
Okay, then now we have Commissioner Dockstader and then Hilpert. And then I see Griffin Jones again. Go ahead.
So I apologize for not having read the preliminary report, but I did just want to ask the committee members if you had, because I understand where the Police Officers Association is coming from when, obviously they're against it, but I think that it might be a bridge, right, to look at the number of officer deaths that also result in these types of pursuits. And I didn't know if you all had looked at that or if it was like officer safety and wellness was included in the report.
The answer is yes. So.
Just to clarify, our goal as a commission is to make the community safer for both residents and police. It's not, we want to be a bridge. Commissioner Hill.
I just wanted to quickly add, one of the other things we talked about in depth was also finding a way to make sure that the public is aware of what's happening. I know one of the concerns that we raised is if we have an STPD liaison there, and based on their feedback, we're changing things. We want to make sure the public has transparency. They understand based upon what feedback they gave us, what we changed and why we changed it, because we want to make sure that people are aware. The flip side of that is also we want to make sure we have, I think, kind of to your point, based on the POA's social media posts, they're taking our preliminary draft and basically taking the crime of the day to throw it at us, saying you're making the community less safe. So again, that was our preliminary report. When we work on making the final, we're going to try to make sure that all those things are kind of pre-addressed. But I think we also need to make sure that, as Gloria said, is that some of the concerns that the police department has, that we at least can listen to what those concerns are, and if appropriate, we can make changes to our recommendations. But we definitely want to make sure that the public is involved, but we also have an ability for us as a committee to review things, confidentially as much as we can, and have our private conversations as much as we can be private with Brown Act and all that, but have those conversations that are not necessarily being reviewed by the public off the top, and then having the POA immediately snipe at us before we even have a chance to make our formal recommendations to the commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Griffin-Jones, and then Commissioner Molment.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the subcommittee if you all are worried about the San Diego Police Officers Association being able to be non-biased with anything in our report post, because it sounds like they're, do y'all have any concerns about the San Diego Police Officers Association being able to be non-biased with our report? Because they behaved this way with a preliminary, and we wasn't that deep, but go ahead.
Respond to that. Yeah, we are interacting with the liaison who is from the leadership of the police department. We are not interacting with the POA.
And I want to add, the decisions on the recommendations will be made by the police chief, not the POA. So, okay, just to clarify, that's who we deal with. That's what's in our charter. So, go ahead.
But don't we have to meet with the POA to discuss, to get aligned with discipline for police officers?
That's up to the police department if they accept our recommendations. That's a police department issue. That's not the POA. When we do meet and confer, that's on our operating procedures. So yes, that will be. And we do want to work collaboratively with the POA. We've invited them to meetings. We've reached out to them and to no avail. So it's not like we want to exclude them. They are always welcome. I would love to hear them come to one of our public meetings and discuss their point of view. They're always welcome. But the final decision is made by the chief.
Yeah, I'm just worried with them posting comments like that about us, that it's deeper, that they're not behaving in a non-biased way that we're expected to behave in as well.
No, we are going to remain go low, we go high. We're going to stay the course. Okay, we have Commissioner Molment and then Commissioner Benitez.
I just want to say we should have no expectation that the POA would be non-biased. That's not their job. We should not have that expectation, right? That's our job. That is not their job. So I think it's unrealistic, right? They're the union for the police department, for the members of the police department. They have a role in this whole, puzzle that we're all, participating in, but we should never have an expectation that they will be non-biased.
My question is just a little detail-oriented one. What's the timeline that the committee is striving for, or do you have one?
No. Our timeline is October. At least that is what our goal is right now, yes.
And just a reminder, once the commission, the ad hoc committee comes up with the recommendations, they come back to the full commission for a vote by the full commission. Nothing gets done until the full commission votes on it. Once they vote on it, an official official recommendations are sent to the police department, to the chief by the chair. That's the protocol, copying the mayor and other city officials, and then he has 60 days to respond to our recommendations. Commissioner Flores and then Commissioner Honore.
I just wanted to clarify for Doug, is the chief, sorry, the liaison, Is he the actual liaison now? Because I thought he was the interim liaison.
No, he is the liaison that has been assigned. The chief indicated that he's in the process of reorganizing the department, and there may or may not be a different liaison once that reorganization is complete.
And just to follow up on that, just for full transparency, he is the former VP of the POA. And I just want to ask if that's something that we considered.
Yes, many years ago when he was a sergeant, he was on the board of the POA, yes.
Commissioner Honore.
And to continue with the theme of the San Diego Police Officers Association, perhaps it would, because I understand some of what Commissioner Griffin-Jones was coming from, perhaps it would be useful for this commission to get some kind of clarification and information, maybe even a presentation on the role the San Diego Police Officers Association makes vis-a-vis this commission. We know we have to meet, that there is a meet and confer that they are involved and engaged in that has to do with our policies and procedures. At the same time, we're kind of turning aside from looking at their behavior in other ways as if it doesn't matter, that we have to engage them on another plane. So perhaps if we have a full and clear understanding of what their roles are, what they do and can do and can't do, we'll have a better understanding of what our engagement will be with the San Diego Police Officers Association.
We can check and see if our outside counsel possibly give a presentation on that at a future meeting. So thank you. Okay, Commissioner Diaz.
Along those lines, I would like to know how much influence the POA has on policies, you know, not just the chief, but also the POA. How much influence or indirect or direct influence do they have when they negotiate their contract? Because sometimes that's a lever, you know, like a little carrot stick that they have with the chief.
I'm going to turn to our outside counsel, Mr. Bennett. Do you have input on how much influence the POA has on the police department?
Good afternoon, Commission. I do not, however, I do keep in touch with attorneys for the POA, and we have communications, and we have open communications in that regard. If the Commission is interested in more information regarding the POA and any input it has, I can certainly inquire to see if perhaps somebody will come over and speak or somebody would want to participate. It's a very, very interesting, tenuous, and tense relationship. Just my perspective between civilian oversight and most police unions. Most police unions do not appreciate or do not support civilian oversight. That's not just San Diego, that's just the way it is. So I don't know if they would participate, and I can certainly inquire if you all have some pointed questions in terms of the role the POA plays in regards to what you do. I'm happy to look into that, or at least speak to somebody over there to see whether or not there's a reaction. They certainly will have a lot to do with how the commission proceeds forward, because all of the operating procedures have to go through meet and confer. They have to be negotiated, and sometimes that's a time-taking, slow process, depending on the relationship between the civilian oversight agency and the POA. So hope that helps.
Mr. Bennett, thank you. It does help. Will you reach out and see if one of them is willing to come to our meeting? And
I will. As a matter of fact, I will.
That would be great. And let us know, and then we can see if we could plan it if they agree. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Commissioner Honore.
Well, I think it would be very valuable to have someone who represents the San Diego Police Officers Association give us a presentation. It has been mentioned a number of times in our meetings that holding too closely to the individuals with whom we are collaborating with, rather than getting an independent perspective on those agencies, might be a better thing to do. In other words, maybe an ACLU or another organization that researches and talks about police officer associations, as opposed to hearing directly from the Police Officers Association itself. I mean, I'm sure that would be valuable too. But I suspect, especially from what we've heard already, that might not be an unbiased perspective on the San Diego Police Officers Association.
Okay, anybody else? Commissioner Robinson.
Just listening to our comments, I really want us to know that we have a responsibility, and someone saying that they don't like what we come up with is not a bully. It's a person that is making a statement that they don't like something because we're disrupting their job or the way they do things. That's what we're here for, and I really hope that we won't concern ourselves too much with that outside of we're here to represent our communities, and we're here so that we can all feel safe. And we really can't base our decisions on a disgruntled officer. I really just want us to really focus on what our job is here as commissioners, because it's important. Our time is important. Our communities are important. And I mean, I used to beat up bullies. I can't beat them up anymore. So I do this. So I don't want us to be worried about bullies. I want us to know that we're a big enough body to get something done. And there is someone beyond the chief if we have to do that as well. So I just hope someone's bias, unbiased, is not going to deter our solutions to any of this. Thank you.
I guarantee that no one is going to influence our independence, and I appreciate your comments on that. And that is why we have chosen to not make it a media showdown. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Diaz, and then Griffin Jones, and then we're going to...
Just real quick, I thought that Mr. Dargan, who is the chief's boss, he's the COO, the city COO. Dargan, I thought he was...
He's the chief operating officer,
right.
But the chief answers to the mayor. So they're hand in hand, but the mayor is the one who appoints and fires.
Right, I
hires
understand
the
that, but I thought administratively the COO was the one that he is
Not
head
that
of all
I'm
the.
a- not
he's
that
head
I'm
of all the
aware of.
departments in the city, though.
Uh-huh.
I just saw the
That's
organization.
his. What I'm being told is that's his immediate supervisor, but the mayor is his ultimate supervisor. Okay, but what's your
No,
comment?
I would like to revisit that organizational chart again, because I was under the impression that
Okay, and
the
we can
Dargan
look at
was-
that up.
And we had talked about Dargan coming to the meetings, too.
That would be a wonderful.
Yeah.
Mr. Parker, can you put that on our list?
I can.
Thank you, sir. All right, Griffin Jones.
I think that it's super important that we're committed to transparency, not only from the police, but also from ourselves as a body. And I think that it's really important that community members know about what's at stake. Something that I think is really unfortunate is that community members are not aware of everything happening behind the scenes. And I think that today was an amazing opportunity to let community members know about the hard work that CPP is doing. Our preliminary, findings were fair and non-biased, and it was met with that kind of reaction from San Diego Police Officers Association, who has leadership that continues to hold leadership inside of the police department. And SDPOA is not just one police officer. It's a lot of police officers, and it's a lot of people who we have to continue to work with. So, I feel the commissioner on not being prioritized with people who are about mess. And I think that the work that we're doing to be able to make transparent the challenges to the work that we're trying to do, to be here for all the community, I think that's an important thing for community members to know.
And that's why I hope they're watching, or they go online and watch our videos, and so they can see what's going on, because we are very transparent in this respect. Commissioner Flores.
I agree with you, Commissioner Jones, or Griffin Jones. I definitely feel that our transparency to the community is highest importance. And I feel like our media strategy is really reactive and not really one that we have taken this work that these committees are doing, and we're really talking about the details, about the information that's there, why the decisions are being made the way they are, and why they're important and why they're not just based off of this committee's decisions, they're based off of research from experts all over the country. And who are we to, not allow those experts into this room and, come here to talk to us and to share with the media their perspectives on why they really believe this and why they dedicated their lives to this. And we're limiting them and our ability to be effective in this community by not really discussing this in depth, constantly, to bring transparency and bring understanding to the community.
Anybody else? Commissioner?
Check. Okay. I just want to express my support for collaborating with the liaison. I think that's a good idea. I think it gets us to a middle ground, and I think we just owe it to the community to have something to show rather than just sending a list of policy recommendations and getting them all rejected. I think it's a good way to reach a middle ground. Yeah, we owe it to people whose lives have been lost during pursuits to have some change, however little it is.
Anybody else? Thank you. So we will have this on our next agenda as well to update, as well as the pretext stops. And now we're going to shut down for a couple of minutes, and then we go to closed session. Oh wait, where are you? Mr. Bennett, do you want to lead us to closed session, please?
Yes, Honorable Chair. There will be a recommended closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54-957 to proceed into closed session to discuss cases that are deemed confidential under Evidence Code Section 1040 and Penal Code Sections 832.5 through 832.8. That will be the recommendation.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on closed session? Mr. Parker?
I don't see any in-person or online comment.
Okay, let's shut down, go to closed session, and then we will start our case reviews, and let's close.
I can't add a comment anymore, do I? I'll talk to the cabinet about adding a comment.
Okay.
Oh, wait, let me get my, I put my agenda in there.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Now that we're in open session, I will give commissioners an opportunity if they have input.
Your microphone isn't on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dwayne, you want to repeat open session, please?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. The Commission met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54-957 to discuss confidential cases under Evidence Code Section 1040 and related penal code sections. The Commission gave direction. There is no reportable action. That will conclude my closed session report.
Okay, now that we are officially back in open session, are there any commissioners that would like to make comments at this time? Ms. Jones.
I'm just really excited about what the cases are reviewing revealing to us is that, case review is only just one part of what we do as a commission, and changing policy is absolutely important and necessary. So letting the community know, keep coming, keep submitting in complaints, and really wanting to charge our commission with not being distracted by this impossible task of reviewing cases and reviewing them based on policies that need some work and need to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other commissioners would like to make a statement? Yes, sir, Mr. Honorary.
Thank you, Commissioner, Vice Chair, Commissioner, Chairperson for tonight. I just wanted to say congratulations and welcome again to the new people, especially the one that kind of fronted me off for not saying something last meeting, but that's another conversation. Like she said, she knows some of the people here. To all of you, you're doing an incredible job. This is extraordinarily difficult work. It is very time consuming. It is very intense. And you're doing, as far as I'm concerned, you all are doing an incredible job. And I know how hard this is. Believe me. When our next case comes up, you'll see what I'm talking about. So keep doing the great work you're doing, and I applaud you all.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Chatsky, did you have any? Okay. At this point, we are now closed for the day. Thank you very much. 7:23.